Councilman Van Cleek is excused. Councilman Secreto. Councilwoman Hayner. Councilman Kitchen is excused. Supervisor Quigley.
Present. Thank you very much. Can I ask again for those out in the internet world to indicate whether they can hear us? Someone hold a thumb up. Thank you very much. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda? Ms. Hayner, none? Ladies and gentlemen, we have an agenda here tonight, and at this point in the meeting, we usually take comment on the agenda items. If there is anyone who would like to approach the podium to make comments about the agenda items, please feel free to do so now. Thank you very much. Our package contains the town board workshop meetings for June 2nd, 2022, and the town board meeting for June 16th, 2022. May I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented? Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Communications, please.
I have 3 communications this evening. The first one is I will save regarding a comment regarding 338 Glenary Boulevard. I will save that for that particular agenda item. The second email correspondence is an email from Marie and Bob Barnes at 1 Marilena Avenue regarding storm response. It's directed to Superintendent of Highways, Frank Petremont. Dear Mr. Petremont, we want to commend the Highway Department for the excellent cleanup after Wednesday's storm. The crew cut up and cleared the debris in the streets in record time. We almost didn't have time to get branches to the street. Jason and Vincent were especially helpful in sewing large downed limbs in our yard and dragging them to the trucks. And what a surprise to see the street cleaner early Friday morning. Thank you. And lastly, a letter received in today's mail from the New York State Department of Transportation in response to the town board's motion made July 1st, 2021 regarding a speed study on Quail Drive between Van Cleek's Lane and Memorial Drive in the town of Ulster. Dear Ms. Reevy, thank you for your correspondence to the New York State Department of Transportation received July 16th, 2021. A formal investigation of speed limit on Quail Drive between Van Cleek Lane and Memorial Drive has been completed. NISDOT professionals have determined that it is appropriate to establish a 30-mile-per-hour regulatory speed on Quail Drive. It is the responsibility of the town of Ulster to post the new 30-mile-per-hour speed limit signs as specified in the Federal Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. Attached for your files is a copy of the official notice of order establishing the new speed limit on Quail Drive in the town of Ulster. Very truly yours, Mark D. Morano, Assistant Engineer. That concludes communications.
Mr. Petremont, is that letter sufficient for you to take action? Okay. Abstract of claims, please.
Yes, July 2022's abstract is the prepaid bills are $905,234.50. Abstract bills for 7/22 are $442,608.61. Our escrow is $6,862.50. Our reserve is $445.17 for a fund total of $1,355,159.78.
Boy, I spent a lot of money this month. May I have a motion to accept the abstract as presented? Any discussion on the abstract? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. In our package is a short list of budget modifications and transfers. And we are very early in the year. And this is not a very heavy lift. Most of the budget modifications relate to increased expenses due to increased revenues from various grants and transfers. So may I have a motion to accept the budget transfers and modifications for the month of July 2022? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We have a scheduled public hearing for 7:10. I will move into new business until the appointed time, and then we will come back. The first item under new business is the presentation and acceptance of the town clerk's monthly report for the month of June 2022. Ms. Reevy, is there anything you wish to call to our attention in this report?
No, there's nothing to report.
Total funds collected by the town clerk's office was 77,827 for the month. May I have a motion to accept the report as presented? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on our agenda is a presentation and acceptance of the supervisor's report for the 6-month period, January 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2022. It reflects the cash receipts and the cash disbursements for the 6-month period on an item-by-item basis, along with the balance sheet, statement of cash position, and the balance and the income statements, statement of income and revenues for January through June. There is nothing that is out of the ordinary to report. So may I have a motion to accept the supervisor's report? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. We have previously presented a draft of the annual financial and operating information that was filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Tonight, I'm asking for presentation and acceptance of the final report that was filed with the Securities Exchange Commission on June 28th, 2022. The report has been emailed to each of you. May I have a motion? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The financial reports for the town clerk's office and the justice court have been previously presented to the town board in a draft format. I have delivered to the town board members the printed reports from the external auditors, and the town clerk has been given copies to make it the presentation on the town's website. So may I have a motion to accept the final reports for the town clerk's office and the justice court for the year ending December 31st, 2021? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Previously, we have presented a draft of the audited financial reports for the town. Tonight, I present to the town board members a printed copy and have delivered to the town clerk a report to be presented on the town's website. I ask for a motion to accept the reports as presented for the audited financial reports for the town of Ulster for the year ending December 31st, 2021. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I have 2 items to finish off the first page of our agenda. Mr. Seyfarth, on the matter of a hire. Starting. Mr. Secreto, as personnel, would you take the honors, please? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The last item on our first page is related to a tax certiorari settlement. From time to time, the town of Ulster gets sued because the assessed values of properties are perceived to be out of line with what the market is. In the case of the property known as the ShopRite Supermarket on Myron Lane, the town hired appraisers and it was determined that the town's assessed value was in excess of a current appraised value. We did not have a court case to defend in the, if we were to go to trial. A settlement has been negotiated and I asked for a motion to authorize the resolution accepting the tax certiorari settlement as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, we have scheduled for 7:10 a public hearing for a special use permit for Fala Technologies for employee residences on the second floor. The location is 430 Old Neighborhood Road in Kingston, section block and lot number 48.17-1-9. This is a use that is allowed by code, but requires a special use permit from the town board. With that, I would like a motion to open the public hearing to solicit comments from the public who may have statements in relation to this matter. All those in favor? Ladies and gentlemen, the public hearing is now open. If you have comments on this special use permit, please come to the podium. Frank?
I am the owner of Fala Technologies, and I'd like to put on the record that I'm extremely grateful to the town of Ulster for changing their zoning codes in 2020 that now allows me to legally have a conversion of 3 offices in my second floor of my manufacturing company to now become actual employee residences. I also want to let you know that yesterday, independently, the Ulster County had a workforce summit that they had select people come to, and I was allowed to attend. And we're trying to help the county improve the environment for getting good workers into all different types of jobs. And when they were looking for good ideas, I mentioned that the town of Ulster has changed their zoning to allow this. And this is very strategic to the success of my company because it now allows me to have people outside the region that I can attract into this area, which is very hard to find housing, and live in these temporary apartments for about 1 year. And then hopefully they'll gain enough money by working with that Fala to be able to then go off and get their own apartment or own house. And then I can move additional people in. The county liked this so much that they put it as one of the recommendations they're going to be making to other counties in the Ulster County. And afterwards, I was asked, and I will be interviewed on Monday at 4 o'clock by New York Times, because they want to put this into a news story. I will tell you that that's the second news story because the first one was put out by the Freeman. And I do appreciate that. And this is something that's very strategic. And I'm hoping that more businesses learn about this. And I do want to thank the town of Ulster for this opportunity. It's very important to my company.
Thank you. Okay, are there any members of the public here who wish to comment on this? Are there any members of the Zoom audience who wish to comment on this? Seeing that there are no further comments, I have a motion to close the public hearing. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, Mr. Fulton. We will be moving on the issuance of the special use permit on the August 4th town board meeting. Moving to the second page of our agenda, the first item is a resolution to open a capital reserve bank account and to appropriate funds for the Spring Lake Sewer District Capital Reserve account. May I have a motion? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. I had the opportunity to attend the City of Kingston Water Board meeting on July 14th, where the matter of a drought alert was discussed. The City of Kingston has issued a drought alert to their customers, requesting a voluntary cutback in the consumption of water. In addition, they have cut the town of Ulster off at the Dogwood Street pump station from our 600,000 gallons a day use. And we are producing water at our Fording Place Road plant on a daily basis, where we have averaged over the last several days about 800,000 gallons a day, running about 12 hours a day in production. We are closely monitoring the levels of our wells in the well fields out there. And we will be having a discussion here at the next meeting with the water superintendent about possibly declaring a voluntary cutback within the town of Ulster districts, primary districts that are connected to the Fording Place Road facility. But in light of the fact that the Kingston Water Department directly supplies the Spring Lake Water District, the East Kingston Water District, and the Hillside Acres Water District, I believe it is the responsibility of this board to have a discussion about issuing a drought alert in the town of Ulster for those three districts, requesting a voluntary conservation of water. Comments? Ms. Sainer, any comment?
No, I don't have any comment.
Okay, with that being said, I would like a motion to authorize the Town of Ulster Water Department to notify our customers in the East Kingston Water District, the Spring Lake Water District, and the Rolling Meadows Water Company, which serves the Hillside Acres, of a request that there be a voluntary conservation effort be made on water being received directly from the City of Kingston, in assisting them in meeting their supply issues during this period of tight water supply.
I make that motion.
We'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is in reference to a discussion on 338 Glenary Boulevard in Saugerties, section block and lot number 39.11-4-11. Mr. Tutt, can you approach the podium and indicate to the town board the actions that we have taken so far?
Good evening, Supervisor and board members. So my office drafted an order to remedy to be sent to Mr. Viviani, both by certified and regular mail. In the body of that order to remedy, which was 3 pages long, I referenced every town code and every state code I could find in regards to the condition of the buildings, the condition of the property, the storage of materials, the storage of equipment, general upkeep, and drainage. So it's on. I'm going to repeat. Okay. So at this point, Mr. Viviani has 30 days from the time it was sent to respond and correct the situation before we could proceed, or the town board take it upon themselves to expedite getting compliance.
This is not your first conversation with Mr. Viviani,
By no means.
and this has been a longstanding issue that we have had repeated discussions about, both in my office and on the floor of this forum here. with complaints from our residents. And the actions that are taken here today by the town building department are basically to prepare the groundwork for the town to take and enter into a lawsuit in New York State Supreme Court, not in Town Justice Court where these cases usually end up. As I've explained to several members of the Glen Eyrie residential area, that in other portions of the town, we've had incidences like this where we've been unsuccessful in getting voluntary compliance. And after going through justice court, that is the local court here, we still were unable to obtain resolutions to the problem. The town board has a very strict policy and process to follow in order to draft a lawsuit document that will end up in state Supreme Court, where we will hopefully eventually be successful in getting an order to tear the properties down and at the owner's expense. And if he should not pay for those expenses, we will add it to the tax bill. We have exercised this right at other locations in the town, and we have recovered the monies that we had expended. So with that being said, is there any discussion from the town board?
We can't hear him.
Mr. Blauer, can you hear us?
Yes, I
I
can.
saw a thumbs up.
Mr. Metzger? Thank you. Mr. Secreto, you want to proceed?
No, I'm good. I just told him what else when you were busy.
Very good. With that, then, I am presenting a resolution to schedule a public hearing, recorrection of structures owned by Catello Viviani. Whereas that the code enforcement of the town of Ulster, Ulster County has filed a written report with the town board of the town of Ulster pursuant to the provisions of the unsafe building law, chapter 64 of the town code of the town of Ulster regarding a structure situate on premises reputedly owned by Catello Viviano at 338 Glen Eyrie Boulevard in Saugerties in the town of Ulster, designated by tax map 39.11-4-11, deeming the same to be unsafe to the public in that there is a potential for injury, damage, or possible arson, and that is open at the doorways and windows, and that there are debris, garbage, and combustible materials in the structure, and the doors and windows should be secured against unauthorized entry. Now, therefore, the town board of the town of Ulster in regular session duly convened resolves as follows. After considering said report and pursuant to the provisions of said local law, does hereby schedule a public hearing on August 4th, 2022 at 7:10 at Town Hall, 1 Town Hall Drive, Lake Katrine, 12449, to determine whether said structure is unsafe and dangerous, and if so, to order that such structure be secured against unauthorized entry and/or demolished. This resolution shall take immediately. May I have a motion to accept the resolution?
I make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We will proceed to have a public hearing on August 4th at 7:10, and we will continue down the road to bring this matter to a close through judicial means.
Thank you, board, for your assistance.
Thanks, Warren.
At the end. The next item on our agenda is a motion to set a public hearing for a mobile home place at 294 Glenary Boulevard, Saugerties, New York, section block and lot 39.11-4-3 for August 4th, 2022 at 7:20 PM.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Under the Town of Ulster's code, any placement of a mobile home outside of a trailer park requires a special permit from the town board. And that requires a public hearing. So with that being said, have a motion and a second, any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have our second public hearing for August 4th. The next item on our agenda, we move to old business. It's a resolution declaring that the Spring Lake Sewer Project Phase 2 will not have a significant impact on the environment, and that a determination of non-significance, a negative declaration be adopted. May I have a motion to accept the resolution as presented?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on our agenda is a presentation of the ARPA funding commitments as of July 21st, 2022. The town of Ulster has received a total of $1,292,098.68 from the federal government through the state of New York under the stimulus program for COVID relief that was adopted by the United States legislature and signed by the president in March of 2021. The first allocation of $646,049 has been dedicated to premium pay to certain employees, to public safety expenditures by payments to the first responders that service the town of Ulster, and a series of infrastructure projects that will be discussed in the following resolutions. The Spring Lake Sewer Phase 2 requires a commitment from the town to fund $197,000. We are attempting to get a grant in excess of $900,000 from the state of New York to complete this project. The Spring Lake Phase 1 sewer project is being funded to the tune of $111,000, which includes cost overruns, scope additions, etc. The other item that is on the agenda for tonight is the SCADA project, which is a computer-controlled system for water system. It is $50,000. The Halcyon Park Water District Tank Expansion Project, which the town has received a $454,000 grant from the environmental facility.
Lost audio again.
Yeah, you can't hear it.
The last item is an allocation of $40,000 from the Katrine Lane for the Katrine Lane Stormwater Project. which is to correct a longstanding problem going from the west of the railroad tracks, just north of Katrine Lane to the Esopus Creek. So therefore, I have presented to you the schedule, and you can see how the following resolutions fit into the overall plan for the expending of the balance of the money. The first resolution is to appropriate funds and transfer said funds for the town's Spring Lake Sewer Project Phase 1. May I have a motion to accept the resolution as presented?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion, resolution carries. The next item is a funding commitment in the amount of $197,000 to the Phase 2 project for the Spring Lake Sewer Project. May I have a motion to accept the resolution as presented?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a resolution to appropriate $40,000 towards the town's share of the Katrine Lane Stormwater Project. May I have a motion to accept the resolution as presented?
I'll make it.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a resolution appropriating $43,241 towards the cost of the Halcyon Park Water Tank Replacement Project, which, by the way, has been completed. The tank is ready to be placed into service. We're waiting for the final New York State Department of Health approvals. May I have a motion to accept the resolution as presented?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Final resolution in reference to the appropriation of the ARPA money relates to the appropriation of $50,000 towards the town of Ulster Water District skate upgrades Phase 2. May I have a motion to accept the resolution as presented?
I'll make that.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. In your package is payment application number 5 from Statewide Aquastore. It is the final application for payment in the amount of $27,418.60 on the construction of the Halcyon Park water storage tank. May I have a motion to authorize the payment?
I'll make that.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on our agenda is a report to the board by the supervisor in relation to an initiative that we authorized last I am pleased to report that Central Hudson has advised me, and I have confirmed it with the bills, that the conversion of all the fixtures to LED fixtures have been completed. We are now using less electric at night to light our streets, and that will be reflective in lower costs to the taxpayers. And with that, I'll take any questions if anyone has any.
No, but every time it does that, they don't have any volume.
Every time that happens, it kicks this computer off.
Yeah.
The last item on our agenda is a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign a payment in lieu of taxes agreement, a pilot with Professional Commercial Group LLC for a solar development located along Wood Road, Town of Ulster, section block and lot 48.14-1-1-112. I'd like to make it known to the public that under New York State real property assessment law, these properties, when they are constructed, as of right, do not pay taxes. This is a situation that the state legislature has created as a matter of policy to encourage the development of green energy. And they have also allowed the local communities to enter into a voluntary agreement with these developers to receive some type of compensation in lieu of real estate taxes. And the town has a longstanding tradition of being aggressive in seeking out a fair deal between both the solar developer and the town of Ulster. So we have a pilot agreement here tonight. I'm asking for a motion to accept the resolution as presented.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our scheduled agenda for tonight. This is your chance to come to the podium. We'll start in the front. Please come to the mic. Please state your name and please attempt to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less.
The issue is that,
Can you push the mic down
I'm sorry, push the mic down.
so that we can hear you?
Yeah, I had business in this town for 20
Your
years.
name, sir?
My name is Saeed Vahedi. I was in gas station business and automobile business in this town for 20 years. My problems to this department, the police department goes back to when Mr. Charles Ryder was supervisor and when Mr. Frank Sotile was supervisor. Where they both acted professionally and put a stop to what there's been done to me. And that continues as of today. They harass me, they badmouth me. They won't get the, 10 days ago, it's on tape. This guy that you got as a police chief, I don't know what kind of education he has and where you found him. He stated to me that why don't you go back to your own country and live there? It's on tape. So they can't say I'm lying. And shortly after that, he said, you live in Saugerties, you shouldn't be coming to town of Ulster. So this is, I wouldn't dare to say that to anybody. There's a lot of foreign people in this country. We all came on a boat. I don't know what boat he came on. So he thinks it's better than me and make a comment like that. It's not, it all comes down to litigation. And I'm just letting you know, you got a bunch of irresponsible criminals, worst kind of criminals that hide behind the badge. Like you remember Matthew Taggart? He brought my 17-year-old son to his office and personally took a complaint. And 2 days later, he sent Cecily to without contacting his mother. If I was a police officer, I wanted to speak to a 17-year-old kid, I would have contacted the parent. And then that caused, because they knew I was on parole. The charge in this court was nothing. My attorney, ACD, 6 months, nothing happened. But parole picked it up. I went away 18 months. 18 months, a long time.
Mr. Zahidi,
Yeah, no,
you're up-
Vahidi, not
your-
Saidi, Vahidi.
your 3 minutes is up, but I would encourage you to file a written complaint with the Town of Ulster Supervisor's Office, and we will follow up on it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Fallon. This is Joanne Simmons. We live next door to 338 Canary Boulevard. We're on 318. I appreciate the phone call that I had from you and pretty much reflecting what I've heard, but I wrote this before that and I still think it's.
That's fine, please.
And
Do you have a copy you can leave with the town clerk when you're finished?
she can have this copy.
Thank you.
It's on the computer. Before we purchased our home in 318 Glen Boulevard in 2007, we lived in Millbrook, New York. We always wanted to live by the water, so this house was our dream. We made a few improvements and we maintained our property, but now we are living next to what looks like an abandoned dump for construction materials, equipment, trailers, and abandoned vehicles. It once was a yearly seasonal camp leased to family members and friends and had been coming for 60 years. It wasn't a resort, but it didn't look anything like the disaster we have next door to us. As neighbors, we were happy to look after their property during the winter months, telephoning them when we saw something that needed attention. I have photos of the property before and after it was purchased by Mr. Viviani at the auction in 2017, or was it 2018? The pictures before when we applied for and were granted a variance for our garage and fence in 2016. The after pictures were taken from my Canon telephoto lens, making sure we did not step into Mr. Viviani's property. The after pictures are ones that are views from our home and from the Glen Street view as noted. The first thing Mr. Viviani did after obtaining the property was to chop down a number of trees, letting some fall into the esopus, causing some neighbors to question what he planned to do with it. He threw them off his property, threatening them. Sometime after, he began digging around and under the cabins nearest to the esopus so as to create a future basement for each. I understand that COVID changed the lives of everyone, but his before and after COVID construction methods did not change. He only worked during the summer months with a revolving door of 1 to 3 workers. Most of the time he worked by himself. It was all exterior and he quickly abandoned the effort. After 4 years, he has not finished the basement dig out and left the cabins vulnerable to the elements. As you can see by the photos, some portions of the cabins have fallen apart. There was never a building permit posted in view on the property. When I asked Mr. Viviani to see the building permit, he harassed us to the point where we had to call the police a few times to our house to have him stop. But he would restart the harassment after the police left. Soon he accomplished what he wanted, to intimidate us into silence. We have appealed to the building department on several occasions for the past 4 years with no relief or explanation. We even talked to the board about a year and a half ago, this board, with similar results. A homeowner along Glen Boulevard went before this board last month also to ask for your assistance to clean up that disgrace. It was reported in the Daily Freeman. We are here this month also to try to get some answers why nothing has been done. We are all upset and they're not letting this go on without some action. We can't understand why this property owner contempt and indifference for the law of this town and county has been tolerated. As long as that property is allowed to be in its current state, our property is valued much less than it's worth. No one would choose to live next door to that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. I know you asked for people to be here to give you support for your court case.
Now, the important part is people coming next board meeting on August 4th at 7:10
Okay,
to offer public testimony. You just
Definitely.
did with pictures and stories, and that will continue to move us forward. As you've noted, we've taken past a resolution to move this to the next stage. We will be diligent in
Yes.
moving forward.
We sent out, well, Joey and I made copies and put bulletins to come to this meeting, about 115 of them.
Thank you.
Everybody's had it in their mailbox, so. I don't know how many got them. Yay! Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm going to ask that those pictures, are those pictures, can we have those pictures? Please get them to the town clerk. And somehow, yes, as long as they have dates on them. I'm looking for items of pictures that establish conditions as of specific dates. So if there's dates or something that can help us to triangulate, we'd appreciate it. Are there any other individuals, ma'am?
Hi, my name is Kaylin Sanders. I live on Glen Boulevard. I'm definitely here to support my Glen Boulevard neighbors at about the 338 issue. It's a blight on the neighborhood and a safety issue. I've lived here 5 years, and even though it's not in my visual, normal day-to-day, passing, safety issues affect neighbors, and if one of us has an issue, everyone has an issue. I also want to say that I have got about 7 neighbors here that I represent, the Esopus Creek neighbors, 50 plus people that live around the perimeter of the Central Hudson site. And I would love for anybody here to send an email to esopuskreekneighbors@gmail.com. I have been engaged with you, the board, Central Hudson and CSX for the last year about our quality of life issues, stormwater issues, noise pollution, light pollution. And we wrote a letter to your board on May 4th and have not received a response. This is a huge impact, not only on the neighborhood, the end of Glen Eyrie Boulevard, but everyone downstream. So all of you that live on Glen Eyrie Boulevard are getting the runoff from the Central Hudson site. The people that are around the perimeter, have to endure the noise, the light, pollution, the lack of wildlife. There's been innumerable impacts on our quality of life that have not been addressed ever since this project was green lighted with what we think is inadequate vetting, grossly inadequate vetting. And so what we'd like is a formal response to the letter that we wrote on May 4th. I brought copies with me today. Happy to give them to your town clerk if you want to pass them to
Please.
your other board members, if you did not receive the letter.
And make sure Mr. Kimball gets them.
Again, esopuskreekneighbors@gmail.com. Would love for all of you to join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional people here tonight who wish to speak on any topic? That's any topic. It doesn't have to be Glen Eyrie. It could be Spring Lake. It could be any place, Lake Katrine. So do I.
May I take a moment?
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Last call for any comments, sir? Please.
Contractor, and I go down to my brother's house, which lives on the other end. I live on Glen Eyrie Boulevard also, and I have to go past these cottages. I don't know what you call them. They're not cottages. but
No, they're
it
not.
Used to be 100 years ago, and I can fix almost anything. And you look at some of them, even I can't fix them. And I'm really pretty darn good at doing what I've been doing over 40 years. But just to, what the ladies are saying and what Caitlin's saying is that it's really an eyesore. People next door built like a $500,000 beautiful log cabin, and that crap hole is right next to them. It's just, who wants to look at that? I just want to say what I had. I got nothing more to say.
Thank you.
If you've seen it, it's disgusting.
No, I've been down there.
Oh, you have, sir?
Yes, I
Okay.
have.
Okay, you'll have a good night.
I'm gonna put something together for next time. It's Mary Jo Frederich. I came here and spoke in
Yes.
May. But I just want to say that the first thing anybody ever says when they come to my house is what is going on over there. And it's embarrassing to me. And I have a house that's well kept. And I feel bad and I'm ashamed because of that property. So I'll put together another formal statement, and I will also send you the photos that I have, because I do have some. And that's all I just wanted to say for now.
Thank you. Any additional comment?
May I speak? I'm on Zoom.
Oh, go. Go ahead.
My name is Bob Lewis. I own property at 282 Glen Eyrie Boulevard.
Bob, we can't hear you.
Okay. Let's see. I thought I took the unmuted. Can you hear me now? Thank you,
Go
Susan.
ahead.
I have issues with 338 in at multiple levels because I started coming here. I have issues with 338 in at multiple levels because I started coming here. I have issues with 338 in at multiple levels because I started coming here. I have issues with 338 in at multiple levels because I started coming here.
It's just.
I have a feeling you can't hear me. And some recordings playing itself back and over again.
And when I look at it, he's not even talking.
Pardon?
Susie, do you want to put him on yours?
Bob, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Susan.
Please go ahead.
Oh, very good. I first came here when I was a very young boy, visiting my aunt and uncle on Glen Eyrie Boulevard, John and Doris Cody. And basically, my parents fell in love with the place. Since then, I've unfortunately aged. And at the same time, I also bought a home on Glen Eyrie Boulevard. And really, what I see is when I go by those cottages, it's like a sewer above ground. And I don't know how we can expect anybody to want to buy property or feel good about things with that existing. I'm thrilled to hear what you're doing. This is something that has to have a methodical approach to it, and it sounds like that's the direction you're taking. And Mr. Viviani has to feel the pain, and if you can accomplish that, it'll be a wonderful thing. I tear up every time I drive by that. So I thank you for everything you're doing, and I thank you the efforts, Mary Jo Frederick and everybody, to bringing this to everybody's attention. It's critical. If you want pictures going back, I might be able to dig up some from Mr. and Mrs. Clements, Maurice Clements and Leona, and the people that were there long time ago. I don't know if that's going to do you any good on those cottages or not. I can't hear anything.